We all know how inconvenient the glaring heat of the sun is here in our country. But what if, when we stay under the sun, we don't only get wet soaking clothes, and instead we can recharge our phones and gadgets? This can be possible with the discovery of ultra-thin solar cells. A lot of people are focusing their attention in improving the design, cost, efficiency, and stability of the solar cells that are found in the market. One group of researchers in Johannes Kepler University Linz in Austria has come up with an interesting design of creating ultra-thin solar cells. And when I say ultra, it's 3 micrometers thick. A square meter of solar cell weighing only 5.2 grams produced 120 watts. Imagine the possible applications of this kind of almost weightless solar cells. We can have them practically everywhere: gadgets, bags, clothing, airplanes, and even cars. Their advantage lies on their weight and flexibility. These photovoltaics may also end up in everything that flies, such as weather balloons, small unmanned planes, and even drones. For the material, they use organolead halide perovskite. Perovskites could lead to a dramatic increase in the world's use of power from the sun. These compounds share a crystal structure that are named collectively after the mineral that was the first substance found to have this structure. Often, these are semiconductors. This means that, like the famous semiconductor of all, silicon, they can be used in solar cells. The first perovskite solar cells were made in 2009. They converted 3.8% of the light falling on them into electricity. Now, the best can shoot up to around 20%. Moreover, unlike silicon, perovskites are cheap to turn into cells. Perovskite solar cells hold an advantage over traditional silicon solar cells in the simplicity of their processing. Traditional silicon cells involve expensive, multi-step processes requiring high temperatures. For the creation of these thin perovskite layers, the scientists use solution processing to deposit the thin layer on the transparent electrode. Researchers in Australia have developed a new way to make efficient solar cells from solution. This technique uses liquids that contain semiconductor nanoparticles. The total thickness of the device, including two 100 nanometer thick electrodes, the substrate, and protective layers, is only 3 micrometers. This method will allow scientists to innovate and develop new kinds of solar panels. However, like any good material, perovskites still face challenges before they could reach their maximum. The main obstacle to the march of perovskites is water, because they decompose in it. Perovskite solar panels must thus be totally watertight. Fortunately, technology exists to make effective seals on solar cells. The biggest hurdle for commercial deployment of the cells is their long-term stability. At this stage of the research, the device is vulnerable to oxygen and water, but functions at full capacity with artificial sunlight for several days. The team says it made demonstrations that operate in air, and that half a year later, the gadgets are still functional. If they can tackle the environmental concerns, the prospects for perovskite-based solar cells will be greatly improved, expanding their potential. This patent was introduced way back 1988. It discusses the production of thin-film solar cells with a thickness of less than 100 microns. Although the method covers solar cells fabricated from semiconducting materials, the patent focuses only on creating solar cells from silicon wafers. It does not include thin-film perovskite solar cells. Ultimately, if perovskite solar cells can meet the production costs of organic solar cells and reach the energy conversion efficiency of silicon-based solar cells, then perovskite indeed will deserve its very promising reputation in the field of photovoltaics.